Welcome to my channel. This is Hot Mess and Hot Glue. My name is Lynn. Let's have some fun. In today's video, we're going to just be using some stuff around the house and recreating them, trying to give them one last chance at not ending up at the Goodwill. So having had all of these picture frames kind of like donated or gifted to me by a neighbor, I just really didn't know what to do with them. They were not all the same size, they were not all the same shape, and they all just kind of had a completely different distressing to them. So taking with the idea, we're gonna shop my house, we're gonna look around, see what we have on hand. And these just seemed, they were actually a challenge. I really wanted to see what I could do with them. I didn't want to do the typical command center, which I'm almost positive that was their original purpose, was a command center in her home. But anyway, I just wanted to do something different. So as you can see, I just glued the back of this picture frame backing onto the picture frame. There we go. It's late, guys. Sorry about that. I was trying to reinforce it, but you might have noticed that the way that I glued it on, it was so that the fixtures were on the opposite direction of where they should be, and that's because I didn't want them to interfere with the fact that I knew I was going to grab some scrap cardboard and just kind of beef it up a little bit, just give it a little bit of extra strength on the back of that. I do this front and back as far as just kind of folding, gluing, and trying to give this picture frame base just a little bit of extra strength. When she gave me the picture frame, she gave me quite a few of them, and so I'm actually working on two separate stacks. So one of them will be like this one, painted in orange, and then the next one that I'll be showing you here in a second will be kind of, I want to say decoupaged a little bit, but I definitely didn't use Mod Podge. I rarely use Mod Podge. I don't know what it is. I just can't get it to work for me. So using the pumpkin color by Waverly, I let that dry. While that's drying, I went ahead to the second bundle and I used a combination of tissue paper. You can see the pattern on this one here is kind of just a, I don't know, it kind of had like a flannel feel to me, so I really liked it. And then it came in a set with also a dark navy blue. So this is how I'm attaching all of the tissue paper to all of the picture frames, alternating between this pattern and a solid navy blue. Once all of the tissue paper is dry, then I start just gluing the frames together from largest to smallest. Now again, they're not all perfectly meant to nestle within each other like that because they're a mix match set of frames. So to kind of make up for that space, I used a combination of beads and tumbling tower blocks. Here I'm just adding some details. Now I wanted to pop in and just let you guys know that I would really like to get to 4,000 watch hours on my channel, and so to help, I would like to offer you guys a Amazon gift card. So if you can just go to my videos, hit play all, and just please help me, I'd really appreciate it. Back to the projects. So I went through and I added these like itty bitty little beads. That part right there, I'm not even kidding you, I would never do it again. And halfway through it, I had questioned if I was even going to continue because it took so long. There's a better way to do it, but the way that I did it, I chose to just go through little by little, and I hot glued every single one. I wanted to make sure that they were on good. So I'm moving everything around, just trying to get it to look nice. Again, I had mentioned before that I was using beads just to kind of act as risers in between each separate frame. And so this is me just kind of adding an additional quick layer of height to this one here. I did have some white beads, so I decided to just kind of pepper those in just to give it a little bit more detail and contrast between the natural wood. Even though I was going to dry brush the natural wood beads with a little bit of white paint, I don't know. It made sense when I was doing it, but now that I'm trying to explain it, I feel like it makes no sense. So now that we have those ones drying, we have the orange stack here. These ones are completely dry, and again, I'm just gonna go through with a light coat of, I guess, just a dry brush technique of white chalk paint. I wanted it to have a little bit of that distressed look, but that orange for my purposes of this project is just a little too much. So I wanted to dull that down quite a bit by adding the white paint. Once that step was done and dry, I decided to go through and again just add a little bit more of the support and height. I didn't have anything that was actually going to completely match perfectly with the size, and so on this one you see here, that very last one that I'm putting down now, it's kind of stuck on the lip of the frame. So what I did was I just did the opposite in connecting these tumbling tower blocks, so that the last one at this point here, that's the one that has a little bit of the raised edge from it being on the picture frame, and I felt like that would just kind of help even out some of the, I guess, uneven portion that was going to cause the stacked picture frames to have. I didn't want that much natural wood showing through, but I also didn't want to paint it, so I just went through again, dry brushed a little bit of white over the surfaces that would be visible on these tumbling tower blocks before I grabbed the next smallest frame, applied a generous amount of hot glue to the taller blocks so that when I placed the frame down, it had a nice stable place to just kind of rest. And then I did apply some pressure in between each layer just to make sure that they all were nice and snug and we were able to reduce the amount of space in between each frame. So with these two projects going kind of at the same time, I'm kind of toggling back and forth between showing you one project and the other. My point with this was I wanted to kind of keep each project at the same time of when we're going to finish it. I just kind of wanted each project to be at the same phase. So right now at this phase, it's just try to pick some floral from our stash. I was able to use all florals. Oh, I'm mistaken. The lamb's ear did not come from the Dollar Tree. That actually came from Walmart. The other florals, though, these were all Dollar Tree florals. Oh my gosh, I'm mistaken again. That, whatever that is, the bright green, I want to say boxwood, I don't know what it is, honestly, that I also got from Walmart. Anyway, once I start to figure out where I got my florals from and what they're called, I enjoy putting the flowers into these little arrangements. However, it's still kind of new to me and I get very in the moment. This part of the project always takes me so long. And so it's always just kind of a battle between I put stuff in and I take it out, and I put stuff in and I take it out. Now, what I was noticing with these really pretty blue peony flowers here is that they're just a little flimsy and they're really pretty, so I wanted to use them, but I didn't want to have to use so many of them. So I got the idea to just kind of bulk up one or two of the flowers by combining two flowers. So 4 flowers turns into 2. We get this. I just took apart the flowers and then using some hot glue right there in the middle, and then I attached the second flower right to that middle portion. The only downfall that I found with this was that the petals were a little flimsy, and so it was kind of hard to form them properly. I think if it were a different flower, or maybe if I took that plastic piece off instead of just gluing the plastic to the middle of the flower, I'm not really sure what I could have done to make it better, but I'm definitely going to try this again because it really stepped up the appearance of the flower. Giving it a little bit more body and a little bit more weight to it just made it look that much more beautiful. I had some random little vase fillers just kind of lying around the house, and I thought it would be kind of nice to turn them into their own little pick. So just attaching like I want to say this was like a square dowel rod, if that even makes any sense, but it's just, I cut it at a little bit of an angle using my tin snips, and this way it had a little bit of a point, so I was able to stick it into the foam that's in the bottom and just kind of add a slightly different character, a little bit of different texture to the floral arrangement itself. And once I saw that I really liked how that turned out, I grabbed another separate little vase filler ball that I had lying around and I attached it to the skewer. Now I first put a bead on because I thought it would look kind of cute having that added detail. I don't know if it even really adds any kind of like structural support. For whatever reason, I just thought it was gonna look cute. So once I got these glued together and attached, I trimmed down the skewer just so that it was the proper height so that I could then put it into the floral arrangement to just kind of add a little something to it. I really wasn't sure if I was gonna like it, but I really liked the way these turned out. And so I would say in the future, I know for myself, I may not pass up some of these weird random odds and ends of vase filler and stuff, because you can turn them into a pick for a flower arrangement. And this was a pretty fun little self-discovery, I guess. I don't know. I'm sure there's 100 people out there that have already done this, but it was new for me. Here they are finished. Now, I love the way the floral portion came out. I love the color combination. I really like the idea that this is kind of potentially a centerpiece. It's something you can put on a side table. You can put one or both on a larger kitchen table or dining room table or a kitchen island. I mean, there's a lot of different places and areas where I think these little planters / risers would look great. On to the next project. This one, I kept it pretty simple. I had one extra leftover frame, and so I just did not want to let it go to waste. So I painted it the same because I was painting it at the exact same time. I remembered I had come across one of last year's calendars that I never even used, which I thought was kind of crazy because I tore through them like crazy last year. But anyway, I went to the pumpkin picture, and I'm just going to find the portion that I think looks best. I'm going to trace it out, then I'm going to cut to trim, and then over to the left of my hands, you can see just kind of pile of these little bamboo. They look like sticks, but they're actually torn apart pieces from a bamboo placemat that I had on hand. I had gotten this thing from the thrift store so long ago. It came in a set of 4, and then I lost one. So I just had never used them because it doesn't make sense to only have 3. I'm weird like that. So once I got the paper cut down, I did trim the little bamboo sticks, and I started out by using these lighter color natural wood ones, and I didn't like it. Now the placemats actually came with these darker ones, so I replaced the lighter ones with the darker ones here, and I really like the way this looks. I'm not real big on bows. I'm not real big on ribbon and a lot of other kind of typical embellishments. I did find this little sola flower, and I thought that it looked cute. This project, I think, this one might be my favorite. I really like the way that this one turned out. This is just a wood platter that I've had forever. Now, my first coat was using Krylon's chalky finish paint. I wasn't a huge fan of this. If you can see, it's a little bit watery. It has nothing reminds me of a chalk paint on this. I think I'm just spoiled with Waverly. So this is like the first coat. Then I got impatient. I went back through with Waverly's chalk paint white, and I gave it a final coat. And I was really glad I did that. Using the color Elephant in Waverly chalk paint also, I'm just dry brushing over just a little bit of kind of streaks, I guess, and that really harsh white just wasn't really going to go with the style that I was going for in regards to this specific decor piece. So I just kind of went around the sides to make sure that it was covered, but I also didn't want it to be distracting. Using the theme of using what we have on hand, I went through last year's fall decor and I found this cute little box. So I decided to turn it into more of a planter this year as opposed to tabletop decor. I thought it might be fun to use it as wall decor. So once it's all hot glued, now after I actually took my final photos, it kind of just dawned on me that I don't really want just the hot glue keeping it together. So I went through and I staple gunned it, and then I went through and like repainted over the staples. I have this really random piece of, I'm not really sure what it is. It's a handle from like a a purse or something. I don't know. You guys just save everything. It's ridiculous. So I just thought that this would give a nice natural element to it. So I added it as a handle. Now I'm going to be gluing the handle. So here are my little question marks. Let me give you guys a little heads up. The question I would like for you to answer in the comments to be entered to win the giveaway is, what are your favorite fall colors? I know it's simple, but I love how different we all are. So here's the finished product for this guy. I really like it. There's something in its simplicity that really makes this one my favorite. It's got just enough color. It's got just enough of that classic comfort fall feeling for me. I liked the idea of having the coordinating colored flowers on the opposite side of the bucket as the colored pumpkins are in the corner. So I thought visually that gave it a nice effect. This guy here, I'm excited to show you guys this little project. So I got this from the Goodwill probably 4 years ago, and I've used it just kind of as is and here and there on random like tiered tray decor. And when I looked at it this time around, it kind of just had a pumpkin shape. So I decided we're gonna go ahead and use it for fall decor and bring it out once a year kind of thing. So I'm using the chalk paint in a pumpkin. Now my other paint colors are here listed for you, and I went through a ton of paint. I wasted a lot of time. I could not get the characteristic right. I couldn't get the details right. I didn't love the paint. So I thought, well, maybe if I add some jute cord, yes, I'm just now finally taking that price tag off. And so I'm wrapping it in this brown twine. I'm adding some, die cut, or not die cut, laser cut leaves. Nothing's really working. I did get the idea to wrap this little brown cord onto the tip of my hot glue gun, and it's almost like using a curling wand. And so when I let it sit there for a second, it gave this really cute little curly cue. And it would be difficult if I wanted it larger, but luckily I just wanted a really small one, so it worked on the size glue gun that I have. I'm all out of Waverly's chalk paint. I'm sorry, not the chalk paint, but the antique wax. And so I'm trying the Hello Hobby Walmart brand for the first time. I actually really like it. I can't really tell the difference between the two. Even after trying to add this really cute happy fall sign, I still didn't love it. So I grabbed Warm Sunset by Décor and I just completely covered everything. I just couldn't do it. Then what I did is I took some beads that I had on hand, I cut them in half, and then I added them to the edge of this little like cutting board thing. Now, this thing, I love this little guy. Absolutely love him. I think it is the cutest little thing. Could not be more simple. I mean, I don't know why I was making it more difficult than it needed to be, but I really like this guy. It was a little bit dangerous trying to use my tin snips to cut the beads in half. So I don't really feel comfortable recommending that as a standard practice. However, it did get the job done, and luckily I didn't get hurt. So don't forget to answer my question down in the comments so that we can get you entered. That is one of the rules for the $150 Amazon gift card giveaway for this video. I don't know why I ended up doing two projects that are very similar. It just kind of happened that way. Originally, I was going to put this pumpkin on the whiteboard that I did earlier that I ended up putting the bucket on, but whatever. Things change constantly. I feel like anytime I go into something with an actual plan, it never actually turns out that way. I end up changing it. Using a blue pumpkin that I had from last year, I just cut it in half. And I still like the blue. We're still carrying that color into this year's fall color scheme. But with the buffalo check background, it just seemed a little in your face. So I thought it would be kind of nice just to take my brush and just glide it over the pumpkin. And it picked up on all of its little styrofoam characteristics and bumps and grooves. I then took a little bit more paint. I just darkened the creases of it a little bit. I didn't even say I darkened it, I highlighted it. Once that was all done, I had a little bit of leftover paint on the side. It's that elephant color that I had used before. I just grabbed a paintbrush that I was using for that previously. I added a little bit of the elephant color to tone down some of the white on the pumpkin. Kind of going with the same decoration idea. I am going to be gluing this pumpkin to this buffalo check charger that I also got from the Dollar Tree last year, and I'm going to fill it with some florals, but instead of actual, colored florals, I decided to just stick with I want to say that this is a boxwood garland. I got it on Amazon, and I will make sure to link it in my description box. It's huge, and I've been using it all over the place. I think I'm just barely starting to run out, and I got it a year ago. I love the idea of adding the greenery into it as a planter. It still just wasn't enough. So I'm in love with these little die cut wood pieces, and so I went through, found some that looked a little bit more like maple leaves than all the others. I dry brushed them with some white paint, then using a second piece of that purse handle that I used on the other project for the bucket handle. You can see I'm kind of just unraveling it here. I used the curly portion of this one because I wanted it to have that corkscrew feeling. So all I'm gonna do is just form it. I'm gonna glue the little leaves to each tip so that it looks as though they're connected, and that's the curlicue stem. No, the curlicue, yeah, the curled stem keeping the leaf onto the pumpkin. I wasn't super in love with the way that the leaf and the rope looked when they were connected, so I'm just using a little bit of leftover brown cord that I used on the previous project, and I'm just wrapping where that leaf meets that. I'm just gonna keep calling it the purse handle. I don't know what kind of material it's made of. It was kind of hard to get a really good camera angle as far as showing you how I'm putting all of this together, but really I'm just stuffing it inside the pumpkin. I add a little bit of hot glue in the pumpkin, and then now, because I'm that control freak that I am, I'm going to force these leaves using hot glue to keep them exactly where I want them to be on the pumpkin. When I was basically done, I looked at it. It was just missing something. I needed a little bit more. So I decided to incorporate that pumpkin color into this project also by taking just a small amount and dry brushing the leaves. I was pretty glad that I did that because I felt like that blue and orange combination is just, that's kind of my fall vibe these last couple years, and we're gonna stick with it this year. I really like the way that this looks. What I like about this one is that it's very lightweight. I could add a jute cord to be the hanger. I could add maybe a small beaded cord to be a hanger. I am using this on like a plate stand. So that's how this will be displayed, which is why I did not add a hanger at this point. For my final project, I've got this little, I don't know, it's just some kind of basket, I guess. I'm not really sure. It's definitely not a milk one. I don't know. I've had it lying around for years. I literally bought it when I lived in California like 4 years ago. And I've used it here and there. It was really dusty, so I decided to clean it up. Going through some of the items to kind of stick with the fall theme, I found this Home Sweet Home sign. However, I was thinking I was going to stain it, but because the basket itself is really dark, I thought that I wanted it to stand out just a little bit more. So by using a really light color, just mixing pumpkin and white together, just kind of making it up as I go. I painted over the front portion of this little sign, and I glued it to the scrapbook paper that you see there to my left, which I got at Hobby Lobby. And once I got that connected, I put it onto the box itself. Well, in this step, I'm taking elephant again, and I'm just kind of dry brushing it on here. It was very flat. You know, the wood needed a little bit of dimension. So once all that was dry, now I'm going to go ahead and attach this little house shape onto the front. And I didn't love it. And I thought, well, maybe it's too bright. Maybe I need to like dull it down a little bit. So I went back through, I grabbed the paintbrush that still had some of that elephant color paint on it, and I just went over it and kind of dry brushed over that as well. And I looked at this and I looked at this, and I just, no matter how hard I tried, I could not love it. So in the end, I just kind of gave up on it. I tore that sign off and I replaced it with a cute little pumpkin that I got from Hobby Lobby. And you know, it was less effort to put that pumpkin on than it was to try and recreate. Sometimes I find that the harder I try, or the more I dive into it and kind of try to put more effort into something for the sake of just putting more effort into it, I don't usually like it. There really is a beauty in this simplicity of things. Keeping it simple, keeping it clean, that really just, it makes it more fun. It's a lot less stressful, and I really love the way that this little basket turned out. This is going to be a really cute decor for my fall season. Been a little while since we've seen all the other ones, so I'm just going to give you a quick little rewind of all the projects that we did today. Again, I really wanted to make sure that I went through and I verbally explained the rules so that everyone is eligible to enter for that giveaway. Again, it's a $150 Amazon gift card. What you need to do is watch all the videos in this playlist. Each video will have a separate question that you will need to answer inside the comment section. The giveaway will be open until 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday, August 20th. And that is for 2021. So in case you're watching this in the future, this is already come and gone. The winner will be announced on August 22nd. If you go to MBGrayDesigns, make sure you subscribe to her channel because she's pretty amazing. You will be notified whenever she posts something on her community tab, which is kind of just the announcements area. She's going to announce the winner over there. Once she announces the winner on her page, I believe we're allowed to then announce them on our page, but I don't know for sure. So I will get back to you on that one. You guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate all the time that you spend with me. He was so excited. I just had to show you a quick video of him going on the big boy slide. Now, as always, I really want to take a minute just to kind of point out some of the struggles. Dealing with toxic people and toxic family members are very difficult. You are allowed to walk away. You are absolutely allowed to set boundaries. You do not have to come into a crisis situation and be the savior. And you do not need their approval or anyone else's to be considered successful. Don't forget about my giveaway. Until next time, bye guys.